What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to another post-commentary duel video. We've got Shaddoll Trains on the left versus Photon Galaxy on the right. It's actually my friend Adam piloting my Photon Galaxy build. I think for the first time in the channel, he's familiar with how the deck works, and it's actually a deck he's interested in picking up in the future, so hope you guys enjoy this matchup. Also, one thing I want to mention, this is a match that I recorded while I was streaming the other night, so if you haven't checked out one of my streams, every now and then I stream live duels like this, or stream me testing and working on decks on YGO Pro, talking with the chat. Very fun time. If you want to join that, go ahead and follow me on Twitch down in the description below. And also, one last thing, I want to apologize for the video quality of the duel. Looks a little off. It's because I had to use my phone to record this, which normally has really good video. It's just low lighting, I think, was the cause for some of the noise. Because I can't use my main camera at the moment because it's sort of out of commission due to some technical difficulties, and so that's kind of unfortunate, so I had to use a different camera here. So, and of course, guys, real quick shout out to our sponsor at Imperium Duelist. Check them out in the description below. But anyways, getting started with Photon Galaxy, trade-in and the like, with Thrasher and Vanisher being able to set up his first turn plays pretty well. Linking into Soul Flare, as you would expect. Soul Flare adding back a card, I believe it was Galaxy Eyes or maybe Photon Orbital, and then using the standard Knight play to go ahead and go into bring out the Galaxy Eyes from grave, and then go into number 90 Photon Lord with the Soul Flare. So putting up 2 interruptions, no problem. Not wanting to overextend too much. Still has like four or five cards in hand, with setting one there during the end phase, or not in the end phase, well, during his main phase, and then during my draw phase, going to use number 90 to search, because I believe that's probably the best time to use number 90 is in the draw phase, because if you wait any longer than that, you risk, you know, Gamma Seals, and I guess Raw Sphere mode is the thing that a lot of people are considering playing now, which I don't think is a bad idea, because there's a lot of Break My Board decks running around with all these Guard Dragon variants, Thunder Dragon, Guard Dragon, Crusadia Guard Dragon, Blue Eyes or Red Eyes, things of that nature. So it's definitely a threat looming over a lot of decks' heads. And I'm going to get started with the Terraforming, and going for the Revolving Switchyard. And my opening hand was not the greatest. I'm discarding Pegasus here to go ahead and grab Derek Crane. But like I said, he has 2 interruptions. He has the destruction of a special summon monster with Soul Flare by discarding a Galaxy Eyes, which I know he has because he searched it in draw phase here. And he has the potential to negate a monster effect. Luckily, I have Instant Fusion here to be able to summon out Thousand Eyes Restrict, which potentially baits out one or the other. Now, if you're smart and aren't really taking too many chances, I should say, yeah, you're going to use the number 90 there to negate the activation of Thousand Eyes Restrict to attempt to steal the number 90. And then I'll normal summon Night Express Knight, summon out Derek Crane, and he will just destroy the Derek Crane using Soul Flare's effect in response to the summon. And there's really nothing else I can do at this point. Did not see Shaddoll Fusion in my opening hand, which is pretty unlucky. That would have helped me out big time to probably even secure the game, because I would have attacked over both of his monsters, burn him for 2k with Gustav Max, and I'd be in a pretty good position, but I don't think that even would have been game. So I'm forced to pass it back over to him. He's adding a Knight off of the Orbital, and he just has so much advantage at that point that he can go into number 62 and just absolutely annihilate me with tons of damage. So we're going to go ahead and go into game 2 here. And one thing I've always said about Photon Galaxy, it may have a pretty standard turn 1 field, number 90 Soul Flare, number 90 Soul Flare Pleiades or Infinity, or number 90 Blast Dragon Soul Flare, things of that nature, but after that first turn, if you're able to fend off your opponent, the deck can just pop off even harder, even linking up to cards like Boral Sword, summoning additional rank 8s, and making tons of other plays. So after turn 1, the deck can go pretty hard. And I opened up, again, not the greatest here. It's really unfortunate not seeing a lot of extender cards like, you know, Speedy Express Bullet Train, or, you know, opening Night Express and a Derek Crane, or Night Express and Bullet Train. Just not a lot of great starter cards in my opening hand, which is kind of unfortunate. That is something that can happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Luckily, I'm able to discard the Ruffian Railcar off the Switchyard to grab a search, and then end phase search as well. And for my opponent, having to normal summon his Galaxy Knight with no Galaxy Eyes engraved, which is, of course, something you obviously, in most cases, want to try not to do, but what looks like with what's in his hand, did not have the opportunity to do so. Has to use the Sanctuary to go ahead and get the opportunity to be able to get his Knight on field, and then uses Galaxy Expedition to summon out Galaxy Soldier, and Soldier searches another copy of Soldier. Soldier is very important, as it will be able to grant you an additional search, even when it's summoned off of a card like Expedition, which is really nice. Now he's going to go into Soulflare Dragon here, and adds back the Galaxy Eyes from grave, and only has the option at this point to go into a rank 5. Now, this is where I really wish, and you'll see in Game 3, where I really wish Photon Galaxy would just get a rank 5. You think they have, you know, level 5 monsters, even Photon Slasher is a level 5 monster. You would think that they would give us a Photon Galaxy rank 5 monster. Just something that is useful, something that does something helpful for the deck. I think that is something I think Konami needs to give this deck in the future. You can't just give the deck a rank 4s and rank 8s and even rank 10s. Like Robot Galaxy Destroyer, like, you just got to give the deck a rank 5 at the end of the day. I think it really needs it. So luckily I opened up Instant Fusion here to be able to try to bait out either the Soul Flare or the Pleiades. Pleiades is really good in this matchup either way, whether it's Infinity or not. It's still an interruption. And if it was Infinity or Pleiades, it doesn't matter because Jizukiro says no to both of those cards. I summon Night Express Knight into Derek Crane, going to Gustav to burn for 2,000. The trains are running down the rails at this point. He does have the called by for the Derek Crane, but it does not matter. Swinging over that 2,800 Soldier or Knight for a lot of damage, and then be swinging over the Soul Flare for another 4K, with him being only at 28 at that point after attacking over Knight. That's going to be a game, and we'll go ahead and go into Game 3. I opted to go first against him there in that Game 2, mainly because I didn't want to have him be able to freely set up. I was hoping at least I'd be able to get into number 81 to have some form of disruption, probably stopping a Galaxy Knight play, which would have been huge, because I feel like that is a linchpin for Photon Galaxy when they go into Soul Flare and they go into Knight to try and continue that play to get back the Galaxy Eyes. If on that Knight summon, you can chain number 81, hit Derek Crane, and destroy the Knight or the Galaxy Eyes. You leave them in a pretty bad spot. Same thing with Ghost Ogre and Valor being pretty good against the deck as well. And now going into Soul Flare after resolving a Soldier and a Vanisher, adding back the Galaxy Eyes off of that, and following up with the ever-so-present Galaxy Knight to bring back the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, setting up again with that classic field. Now, I did make a few changes, and by a few, I mean a few, as in not many. I don't want to get it mistaken, is because I only really had to change one card in the main deck, and it was cutting Soul Charge, because it is now banned. And I had to cut Soul Charge, so I put in Galaxy Cleric in place, because it's the thing I've seen a lot of builds try. So now I'm maining one Wizard and one Cleric in the build, and you'll see him add it here during my draw phase off of number 90, because he doesn't need to search Galaxy Eyes since he already has an extra copy in hand to be able to use with Soul Flare. I open up Terraforming here again, luckily to be able to get me into the Revolving Switchyard, and going to go ahead and use that effect here. I believe I have a Ruffian Rail card that I can discard off of the field spell, which is nice, but again, I have to worry about playing around the 2 interruptions, and if I don't have the Thousand Eyes Restrict, Instant Fusion, or if I don't have a Kaiju, this is going to be a tough field to play through, because trains can be pretty fragile, in my opinion, especially if I didn't see Urgent Schedule any of these games. I did not see Shaddoll Fusion. Actually, looks like I do open up Instant Fusion again for the 3rd game in the row, and he actually ends up using the Soul Flare here instead of the number 90 to clear the Thousand Eyes Restrict. I guess you could argue that's a bit of a misplay, but I guess it could go either way. Maybe you wanted to save the monster negation for something else that would be looming in my hand, or one of my rank 10 plays. If I go Gustav Max, he's going to have the option to negate that. Arguably, he could destroy, but here I go the Night Express Knight into Derek Crane. Now, when Derek Crane activates, I believe he would have the opportunity to negate, but I do have a few cards left in hand at this point, So I'm pretty sure he did not want to use the negation there of the Derek Crane, on the Derek Crane, I should say, because I could have had an additional card in my hand to follow up to still get me into a rank 10 play at the end of the day. So unfortunately, his number 90 will not be able to get a chance to resolve there. I'll go into number 81 because going for Juggernaut is not going to be the best idea at this point, since I cannot guarantee game. And if I go to use number 81, he'll just negate it, and I'm just better off leaving that on field, going into battle phase, running over that 3K defense, and end phase, I'm going to go ahead and get a surge here off of the Ruffian Rail Car, and which is really helpful. These end phase searches are always coming in clutch. I add the Speedy Express Bullet Liner, Bullet Train, whatever its name is. I keep getting it mixed up with its OCG name and its TCG name. Now having Galaxy Knight and the Cleric in the hand, having a couple options between plays you make. He also has Photon Orbital. He's got like 5 cards in hand at this point, so he's got a pretty decent graveyard to work with as well. And of course, he can shuffle back up to 5 of those cards back into his deck. Now he normal summons the Galaxy Cleric, and I did have a response, and it is called by the grave. And the reason I was checking here his Cleric, because I was wondering if I called by one of his targets off of Cleric, if the Cleric would be able to resolve. But looking up some wordings and some rulings for other cards, since Galaxy Cleric says shuffle them into the deck and doesn't say shuffle those targets into the deck, if one of the targets for Galaxy Cleric is not put back into the deck via its own effect, it still can resolve. At least that's how we ruled it then and there. That might not be the correct ruling. We just had to rule it on the fly, and that's how we ruled it, since cards like Pot of Avarice and Jar of Avarice say shuffle those targets back into the deck, which would inquire that if one of those targets is removed before the effect can sort of resolve, the whole card won't be able to go through, since it doesn't say shuffle them like Cleric does. Cleric says shuffle them into the deck and doesn't specify the targeted cards, just saying something, things will still get shuffled in even if it isn't all 5 of those cards. So he'll be able to shuffle all those cards back in and draw 2 cards. Has Trance in hand, which would be fine, but of course I have a set called by the grave, and he definitely knows this at that point, because I had a question and a sort of response to that activation of Cleric. Now, he did forget, sort of, because he is sort of, in quotes, I guess, new to Photon Galaxy, that Soul Flare only takes 2 monsters, and including one, only one has to be with 2,000 more attack. So he was kind of concerned that Cleric only has 1,500 attack, and he was thinking that he could not link away with the Cleric and the Soul Flare, which is a bit of a mistake, but again, really doesn't make too big of a deal with the position he's in. He opted to normal summon the Cleric to regain resources in this position instead of the Knight. And guaranteed, if he would have gone in, to the Knight play, I could have just, used Derek Crane to destroy his Knight. Yes, he gets Galaxy Eyes back, but he's left without any rank 8 plays. He can go into Pleiades here as well, and he's sort of torn on a couple options here. He has Desires in hand, has Galaxy Trance, but of course, since Galaxy Trance prevents you from going into any other monsters that aren't Photon or Galaxy the turn you play it, and he'll pay the 2K. He targets the Galaxy Eyes Engrave. I have the called by, so that cannot resolve, unfortunately, so he'll take the 2,000 for cost. And now he couldn't even go into a rank 5 if he wanted to, because there's no Photon or Galaxy rank 5 monster, which, like I said in the past many times, is just so unlucky. We need a rank 5 for this deck, because imagine if we could go into a decent rank 5 right now, instead of just having to leave these here, which is, again, just kind of unfortunate. Going in now to the Expedition, which at this point, if he had gone for the Knight play, yes, he'd be down on some resources. Maybe would have banished some other cards off of the Desires first if he didn't go for the Cleric play. There's just too much gray area at this point to say if he would have done X or Y thing at a certain point, if it would have changed the outcome too much. Now linking into another copy of Soul Flare. Of course, can't link into anything like Boral Sword or Load, because he did activate Trance, and since the activation was not negated, his call by did not negate the activation, it simply just prevented it from resolving. Going into Pleiades here, obviously, which he cannot do. This is something that someone in chat reminded us that he can't do. because he did activate the trance. And of course, he tries to activate the Pleated, which again he could not do. And then the game is just going to end here in my favor because he's just going to scoop because I do have a lot more resources in hand to be able to play out this turn and potentially game him as is. So he couldn't even have made that Pleiades to begin with, so he's just going to scoop there. Apologize for that little mishap with trance. It's just kind of unfortunate that we don't have a Galaxy rank 5 or a Photon rank 5, which is something I hope we get in the future. I hope it at least has a decent effect or something of that nature. Maybe it can special summon a level 5 or lower from grave, or a monster with 2,000 more attack that's Photon or Galaxy in your graveyard or something, or summons one from hand. Just anything that is remotely useful for the deck. Please don't make it like a dark matter dragon. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Apologize I haven't uploaded the past 2 days. Gonna be doing some test hand videos. More importantly, in the future, I've got test hand videos planned for Burning Abyss, for the new Mermail build that I've been working on, possibly going to be doing Orcus test hands as well, and a Guard Dragon deck profile in the future. So you guys have all those things to look forward to. Going to be doing some test hands and stuff of that nature, and a couple more deck profiles, and of course some duels. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.